In a world where modern medicine has extended human life well beyond what was once imaginable, there remain pockets of humanity where life is tragically cut short, often before it has truly begun. In some of these countries, the average person doesn't live to see their 60th birthday. Not because of old age, but due to a cocktail of preventable diseases, poor governance, poverty, conflict, and broken systems. In this video, we explore 10 countries where people die young, uncovering the complex social, economic, environmental, and political factors that steal decades from millions of lives. These aren't just numbers or charts. Behind each statistic lies a story. A child who never made it to school, a mother lost during childbirth, a father felled by a disease that should have been treatable, or a teenager caught in the crossfire of war. Number 1. Central African Republic. In the heart of Africa lies the Central African Republic, a nation rich in natural resources but ravaged by extreme poverty and long-standing conflict. Life expectancy here barely crosses 54 years. For many, survival is a daily gamble. The country has faced multiple coups, civil wars and insurgencies that have left its healthcare system in tatters. Many clinics operate without electricity. Skilled doctors are scarce. Patients often walk for days to reach a health post that lacks even the most basic medications. Infant mortality is among the highest in the world, and easily treatable diseases like malaria, typhoid, and respiratory infections claim lives daily. Women die during childbirth because there's no one trained to help. Children perish from diarrhea due to unsafe water. Number 2. Lesotho. Nestled in the highlands of southern Africa, Lesotho is a country of majestic landscapes and tragic realities. Despite being geographically surrounded by South Africa, one of the continent's more developed nations, Lesotho is one of the hardest hit by HIV and AIDS. Nearly 1 in 4 adults is living with the virus, making it the second highest prevalence rate in the world. Many children are born HIV positive. Antiretroviral therapy or RT programs exist, but often face stockouts or access issues in remote villages. Compounding this crisis is the country's economic instability. Job opportunities are few, especially in rural areas where subsistence farming is the norm. Poverty, food insecurity, and limited healthcare access together create a landscape where young lives are lost before they ever flourish. Life expectancy here hovers around 55 years, a reflection of an invisible war fought not with guns, but with silence, stigma, and systemic neglect. Number 3. Nigeria, Northeast region. Nigeria is Africa's most populous country, but it's also a land of deep inequality. In the bustling cities of Lagos or Abuja, life may mirror that of the developed world. But travel northeast, and you'll enter a region plagued by insurgency, poverty, and one of the highest maternal and infant mortality rates globally. Boko Haram's presence has destabilized education, healthcare, and local economies. Villages have been burned, clinics abandoned, and, well, hundreds of thousands displaced. In remote states like Borno, Yobe, and Adamawa, women die during childbirth without ever seeing a trained doctor. Children succumb to preventable diseases because vaccines don't reach them in time. Despite Nigeria's oil wealth, many citizens, especially in the north, face life expectancies as low as 50 to 54 years. Number 4. Sierra Leone. Still scarred by a brutal civil war and the catastrophic Ebola outbreak of 2014, Sierra Leone remains a fragile nation. Although peace has returned, the scars of the past linger. The Ebola virus killed over 4,000 people and shattered an already weak healthcare system. Trust in hospitals dropped, medical workers fled, and for years progress reversed. Today, Sierra Leone battles some of the highest rates of maternal mortality, child death, and poverty. Many people live in remote areas with no roads, making it impossible to access care in emergencies. Malaria is widespread. Many drink from contaminated rivers. Few can afford to eat 3 meals a day. Life expectancy remains low, around 55 years. And honestly, rebuilding trust in healthcare has proven just as difficult as rebuilding infrastructure. Number 5. Chad. Chad, located in the Sahel region of Africa, is a land of desert, dust, and unimaginable hardship. One of the poorest and least developed countries in the world, Chad faces an alarming combination of drought, famine, high child mortality, and almost non-existent healthcare infrastructure. The average person here lives just 54 years, but in many rural regions, life expectancy drops even further. Access to clean water is rare. Girls often marry before the age of 15, leading to dangerous childbirth complications. Children are chronically malnourished, and more than half of all deaths in children under 5 are due to diseases like diarrhea, pneumonia, and malaria, all of which are easily preventable. Doctors are scarce, with just 4 per 100,000 people, and hospitals, when they exist, are often hundreds of kilometers away. This is a country where death is not an anomaly, but an expectation. Number 6. Somalia. Somalia has endured decades of civil war, terrorism, famine, and political instability. It's a country where functioning government institutions barely exist in many areas, and where the healthcare system has collapsed under the weight of poverty and violence. Armed militias control much of the countryside. Droughts frequently destroy crops and kill livestock, leaving families without food. Children walk for days seeking aid, and sadly, many die on the journey. The World Health Organization estimates that 1 in 7 Somali children dies before their 5th birthday, and women face some of the world's highest maternal mortality rates. Basic medical services, including vaccinations and antibiotics, are just not accessible to large portions of the population. Life expectancy is staggeringly low, around 55 years, not because of one single cause, but because of a perfect storm of humanitarian disaster. Number 7. South Sudan. Born from hope in 2011, South Sudan became the world's newest country, but almost immediately fell into civil war. Over a decade later, violence continues to displace millions. Roads are impassable, clinics are destroyed, children starve, nearly half the population faces acute hunger, and access to medical services is almost non-existent outside the capital. A woman going into labor in a village may die before she ever sees a health worker. Vaccination rates are abysmally low, and outbreaks of cholera, measles, and malaria sweep through communities like wildfire. South Sudan's life expectancy is barely 55 years, and for many young people, the trauma of growing up surrounded by conflict, hunger, and loss leaves lasting scars, both physical and mental. Number 8. Afghanistan. Afghanistan's story is one of resilience amid relentless tragedy. After decades of conflict and foreign intervention, the return of the Taliban in 2021 worsened an already fragile situation. Foreign aid was cut off. Banks shut down. Hospitals ran out of medicine. Women were barred from working, even in the healthcare sector. Over 90% of the population now lives in poverty, and malnutrition has reached crisis levels. Suicide, especially among youth, has sharply risen, not from ideology but from despair. Afghan mothers, unable to feed their children, are forced to make unthinkable decisions. Access to mental health services is nearly zero. Life expectancy hovers around 60 years, but in reality, many live in survival mode from the moment they are born. This is a nation where war hasn't just killed, it has reshaped what it means to live. Number 9. Yemen. Yemen is facing one of the worst humanitarian crises of our time. Years of civil war between government forces and the Houthi rebels, combined with foreign airstrikes and blockades, have devastated the country's infrastructure. More than half of all health facilities are non-functional. Cholera outbreaks have infected over 2 million people. More than 17 million Yemenis face food insecurity, and child malnutrition is among the highest in the world. Newborns die because there are no incubators. Mothers bleed to death because there are no supplies. Hospitals operate without electricity, and doctors work unpaid. Aid organizations are the only line of defense between life and death, and even they are restricted in their reach. Yemen's life expectancy is just under 60 years. But what's most heartbreaking is how many of its citizens die not in war, but because they can't access help. Number 10. Haiti. On the other side of the world lies Haiti, a Caribbean nation battered by repeated natural disasters, political instability, and gang violence. The 2010 earthquake left over 200,000 dead and shattered the country's core institutions. Since then, Haiti has struggled to recover. Corruption and weak governance have led to the collapse of healthcare systems. Many areas are now controlled by violent gangs, and hospitals are often inaccessible due to roadblocks or crime. Cholera outbreaks have killed thousands, and maternal and infant mortality rates remain high. With rising fuel prices, medicine shortages, and a crumbling economy, many Haitians simply die at home, unable to afford or even reach care. Life expectancy is around 64 years, but many never make it that far. In these 10 countries, death comes too soon, and too often. These aren't places lacking in intelligence, potential, or strength. They are places where systems have failed, and where the international community must not look away.